Shalom, sisters. Shalom. Kohalo Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach wa Malak Yahushai. All honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Lord willing, y'all are feeling really good through the Spirit. I'm feeling good. It's the new moon. So all praises to the Most High, y'all. I've been feeling good. I've been just focusing on Purim, destruction of Nicanor, and just really pouring into building up a sisterhood and building our, sisters. We have our doula business, so we've been just pouring into that and building that up. If sisters don't know, I am a doula, and I have a doula business with my two sisters, Tazlai and Amawanya. Y'all seen her in these videos. If you watch the videos, you see them. Those are my sisters. So we have a doula business together. It's called the Handmaid's Birthing Group. So check that out on Instagram if y'all would like to see what we do. We pretty much provide services to sisters in Israel that are in need or not in need, but you just need help. Birth plans, birth supplies, baby supplies, any advice, anything you could think of. We try to be there for sisters. So go check out that page. Go support us. We're really trying to build that up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So that's why I kind of been MIA. Just been really trying to build through the spirit our business up as doulas and trying to further our education and things like that. So we've been really busy and extremely busy. And as you guys know, I do homeschool and I do a lot. I'm juggling stuff and I love it. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I absolutely love it. So all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So yeah, let's get into it, y'all. I'm just so excited for Purim. I just cannot wait. I have a secret sister, so I've just been, trying to get stuff for my secret sister and, just trying to get, things together. Don't forget for Purim to read Esther and to give to the homeless. Make a little bags, make little bags with like maybe tissue, gloves, hats, scarves, toothpastes, toothbrushes, soaps, whatever you can think of, non-perishable items. That's typically what you should do on the Esther. It's commanded for us to give to the poor. So make sure that you are doing your part for charity for the poor for Purim. It's not about just, gifts for your family or etc. It's about making sure that you are doing your part for the less unfortunate. So come on. Well, let's jump into it, y'all. Let's jump into the topic. So the the topic of this video is how to love your husbands. And this is something that I feel like a lot of sisters may struggle with because, in the world, sisters is kind of hard, like a rock, like can't nobody, like it's just like a harder type of love in the world. But then when you come into the truth, you have to really be this more feminine, more soft woman. You can't be like, nigga, what you say to me? You can't say stuff like you used to say in the world. You can't, pretty much be a nigga woman. It's like you really are a whole entire new person once you come into this truth and you're married. So it's really about putting off that old woman, becoming that new woman, that new creature in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and being submissive towards your husband, being loving towards your husband, being thoughtful. It's a lot with being a wife. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's a learning experience. I've been married for 10 years now. So, let me do the math. Either 10 or 11 years. I don't know. But, I'm not the same wife that I was a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It's always room to grow as a wife. Okay? And that's why I wanted to do this video. Okay? How to love your husbands. All right, let's start at submissiveness, okay? Let's start with Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Yahushua is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. I can read on down. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Yahushua, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. So we have to be subject to our own husbands in everything. And that might seem hard for sisters to really understand, or be like, what? I gotta be in subject to this man? Who is he? That's how sisters look at their husbands in the world. But when you're in the truth and you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you reverence your husband like you would Yahushua. And sometimes we forget that because we're coming out of the world. Sometimes we forget that our husband is right under Yahushua, and that we have to be in subjection unto them as we would Yahushua. So I did want to bring out two accounts with sisters actually being in subjection unto Yahushua. Okay, let's bring out. So, let me pull it up now. Luke 7, and we start at 30. Let's start at 36. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. And he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Yahushua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake with himself, saying, This man, if he were a prophet, would have known what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner. And Yahushua answering said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he said, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor which had two debtors, and one owed 500 pence, and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him most? Simon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged. And he turned unto the woman and said unto Simon, Seest thou this woman? I entered into thine house, and thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with her tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman since the time I came in hath not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And he said unto her, Thy sins are forgiven. So the way that woman, let me go on down. Verse 47. No, let me go to, let me finish reading. It's verse 49 and 50. And they sat at meat with him, began to say with themselves, Who is this that forgiveth sins also? And he said unto the woman, Thy faith hath saved thee, go in peace. And I like this account because it shows that the faith that this sister had in Yahushua, and how she was submissive to Yahushua, and she had so much faith that she said, Look, I know this is the Son of Man. I know who this is. That's a very bold thing to do, to you come into Yahushua's feet crying and washing your hair, wiping your hair with your tears, and anointing him. That's real precious through the Spirit, that she did that. And that example kind of shows sisters also, that's the same way that she submitted to Yahushua by doing that. Now, a sister, we would never think about washing or crying at a brother's feet, or and wiping our hair with their tears, and we would never think to do those things in this day and age. But I like this account because she had faith. She had so much faith in Yahushua, and that submissiveness that she showed in that chapter. This is an example for all sisters to be like unto their husbands. You have to have faith in your husband that he's going to be a leader. He may be slacking, as being a provider. He could be slacking being a leader. He could be slacking with certain things. Brothers aren't perfect, but you have to have some type of faith in the brother that he's going to make it work and that he's going to change. All right, and I wanted to get another precept as well. I want to get Matthew 26. Matthew 26 and so lucky. Yeah. This is Matthew 26 and I gotta scroll down. Uh, 26 and 7. So lucky, y'all. There came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, What purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but for me ye have not always. So like yeah. But ye, Salakia, for ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. So call Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that she anointed, Yahushai, and she was showing herself. I'm trying to think of the word. She was being selfless, and she showed humility, and she showed the faith that she had in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So it's like when it says that submit yourselves unto your husbands as unto the Lord. Those two sisters make me think about how you should submit to your husband, how you have to be really lowly, how you have to be really humble. And being in this captivity, it really has taught us how to be prideful. How it's, like they always say, happy wife, happy life. But back in the ancient world, it was the men, they were the ones that were like, the prize. They were the one that was the, sisters were too, who could find a virtuous woman. But at the end of the day, it kind of even made me think about Boaz and Ruth. And we can bring that account out as well. And with her being a heathen in the way that she submitted herself unto Boaz, how much more sisters? So and don't be in my comments saying that she was an Israelite and all that. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to block you. All right, we're not here to debate. We're here to gain understanding on how to love your wife. And this is how Ruth showed her submissiveness, submission unto Boaz. So how much more us, to our own husbands, okay? Let's get the account. This is Ruth chapter 2. So right here. Let me scroll down. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let me now go into the field and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her lap was too light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. So and behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, And he said unto the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and continued even from the morning until now, and she tarried a little in the house. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? For not glean, go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here, fast by my maidens. Let me scroll down. I'm going to read verse 9. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, go into the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. And she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? Then Boaz answered and said unto her, It hath faithfully been shown me for all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of my husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity, and art come into a people which thou knowest not hereto. The Lord recompense thy work, for a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thy handmaid, though I be not like unto the other handmaids. So even when you read verse chapter 4, when she came and slept at that man's feet, she did what she was told to do by Naomi, and she went to go sleep at this man's feet, and she was showing herself to be submissive unto Boaz. And Boaz, the Lord had it in Boaz's spirit to purchase all of her ex-husband's land and end up marrying her. So it's just an example of how things were in the ancient world, where it wasn't always about how we felt or about always getting your point across. It was about us being really submissive and really submitting ourselves unto men of the Lord. And even when you think about the account with Abigail as well, she still had to deal with Nabal acting a fool, and the Lord delivered her from being with that wicked man to marrying King David. And even when she came to King David as well, she came unto him being a submissive woman. And that's how she got King David. Let's pull that out. This is 1 Samuel 25 and 23. And when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground and fell at his feet and said, Upon me, my Lord, upon me let this iniquity be, and let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience and hear the words of thy handmaid. So this is how she was talking to him. She said, she was asking him, I pray thee, speak in thine audience. She said, she's asking him, can I speak? And that's something that, we have to practice with our husband. Even if you are, a part of loving your husband is respecting him even when you are having disagreements, and you're not trying to absorb authority over him, and you're not trying to be a nigger woman. You're going to say, hey, may I please speak? Okay? And if he says no, then walk away, because we have the understanding that a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. But we know that our foremothers, they asked to speak, they bowed themselves to the ground, they submitted themselves to their husbands as unto the Lord. Okay? Sorry, my cat. Come on. You're doing too much. We're not even halfway done. We 20 minutes in. You coming over here messing with me. Come on, I'm just reading the rest of 1 Samuel. You know, all praises to the Most High. And she had that eloquent speech. Abigail had that eloquent speech that, dang, I don't have my apocrypha with me, but it's in the editions of Esther. That's what Esther prayed for when she went to go talk to the king. She asked the Lord to put it in her spirit to have that eloquent speech. And that's what our foremothers had. That's what Judith had. Everybody showed submission and submissiveness to their husbands. Even if they were heathen. So lucky, y'all. Somebody's getting in trouble after I'm done. Somebody is about to get in trouble. Be quiet. So lucky. Let's get... Okay, I think I got enough examples, y'all. Alright, let's move on. So, let's move on, okay? Let's go into... So, we touched on submissiveness, reverencing, having that honor, a feeling of deep respect or awe. And like I said, that is ultimately showing your husband that you love him. By having that deep respect for him, and a part of that deep respect and reverencing him is listening to him. You know, not always being combative. Not always, to never ever be combative. To just say you got it. Because that's not what our foremothers did. Our foremothers, we didn't go back and forth with our husbands. It was just, we're going to leave it alone. And kind of like let the Lord fight for you. Okay. Alright, let's move on. And even when you are having some type of, disagreement with your husband and you want to address it, it's about the way that you go about it as well. It's about your tone. It's about your demeanor. It's your facial expressions. It's everything. And look at how our foremothers carried themselves. Look at how Esther came to go talk to the king. Look at how Abigail talked to Judith. Look at how Ruth dealt with what's his name? Boaz. Okay, we have these examples for a reason. Everything was written aforetime for our learning. Okay. Alright, so let's go into a little bit more. Okay, I can't do this no more. You got to get down. Leave me alone. Please. I'm so sorry. Alright, I want to bring out Ecclesiasticus 26 and 24. A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. An honest and upright woman, you're going to show respect for your husband. Even if you are separated, even if you are going through trials and tribulations, you're still going to reverence your husband. You're not going to talk mess about your husband. You're not going to diminish his works. You're not going to have a bashing party for your husband. When things are wrong in your marriage, the first person you need to go to is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You shouldn't run to sisters unless you're seeking counsel, but you should never bash your husband. You should always have that respect to reverence your husband as you would the Lord. Okay? Yeah, a dishonest woman, she brings shame. We're not about to be a dishonest woman. You know, lying on your husband, making stuff up because you're mad at him, spreading rumors about him. You know, sisters do things like that, and that's you're bringing shame upon your household. Because even when things do get better and work out, it's going to be hard for brothers to for your husband to trust you, because you know, bringing shame to his household because you was making stuff up. And it's going to be hard for sisters to trust you, because I'm going to be thinking, dang, you sat up here and told all those lies about your husband. You really can't be trusted. Okay. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus 26 and 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. And this is a real heavy verse. And when you honoring your husband, you're judged wise of them all. That's very beautiful in the sight of the Lord, to honor your husband. But dishonoring him in your pride, when you're wrong, when things aren't going right, that's ungodly. You're going to be judged ungodly of them all. You at the bottom of the totem pole. You like a crab in a sea, a shrimp. You're at the very bottom of the food chain, because you're bringing dishonor to your husband because of your pride. And one thing about married and showing your husband that you love him is really putting aside your pride, putting aside that I'm always right, or I know this and you don't know how to do that. You may be good at this, but your husband may not be good at it. But if you come off having that prideful spirit, you know, that's just your husband. It's like kind of belittling your husband when you're prideful. If you understand what I'm saying, you kind of just, I don't know, that prideful spirit, it's really Satan. Because that's not, you know, an attribute of how our foremothers handled themselves with their husbands. You know, they weren't prideful. Okay? Alright, and this is to land me back off of the Ephesians. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Yahushua is God. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. So when we read Genesis, the Lord created Eve for Adam. So we're created for our husbands, for all things. We're supposed to be helpmates, even if it gets overwhelming. You might feel like, dang, I got to do all this stuff. I got to cook, I got to clean, I got to make sure I got his clothes ready, dinner, breakfast in the morning, coffee, everything. But that's our lot. And that's something that we have to accept. And once you accept that, your life is going to get better. Once you accept that this is your lot, because let's get the precept. It's Ecclesiasticus 25. Let me get the one before that. Alright, Ecclesiasticus 25 and 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Hold on, let me get the other one. So like, yeah, I'm trying to pull this precept. So like, yeah. It's 1 Timothy 2:14. I'm gonna start at 12. No, we can start at 11. Shoot, we might as well start at. Oh my God, I'm kind of everywhere. All right, let's start at 9. 2 and 9. 1 Timothy 2 and 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. So who are you in subjection to? Your husband. Just like you would be in subjection to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in a transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So we went off, and through us was the beginning of sin. And once you accept that and say, dang, this is my lot, so what can I do to make things right? What can I do to make things right with the Lord? What can I do for my husband for it to be pleasing in the sight of the Lord? And a part of those things that you can do is being submissive, as you would be unto the Lord to your husband. Okay? All right, let's move on. 31 minutes in. All right, so let's get into more of the reverence and our respect. All right, let's go to 1 Peter 3 and 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement. And I was just talking to my husband about this the other day, and we were talking about how I was asking him, like, how does it feel when I call you Lord, or how do you feel? And he said, it makes me feel important. It makes me feel good. And I said, that's really good. Like, I felt good that made him feel good through the Spirit, because brothers, they go through a lot. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. Brothers aren't perfect. But, this scripture, this precept, 1 Peter 3 and 6, Sarah calling Abraham Lord, that's something that sisters also have to do as well for their husbands. Now, some husbands might not want, he might not want you to call him that. He might not want you to say Lord. He might want you to call him baby, boo, stanky butt. It's like anything. I don't know. Y'all can have your own type of nicknames, but just in reference to the scriptures, just calling him Lord, that shows that love and respect that you have for him, like Sarah did Abraham. Okay. All right, and let's get Genesis 24 and 64. I was thinking about this when I was talking about Abigail. It's Rebecca in Genesis 24, 64 through 65. And Rebecca lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So that just shows the respect that she had for Isaac. When she saw him, she said, who is this? Like, she got off her horse. She went over there to him, she said, who is this? And it just shows you the respect that, all of these accounts just show the respect that sisters have for their husbands, and how we should do the same things in this society. Because a lot of times sisters think that they don't have to. They're like, why do I have to call my husband Lord? Or why do I have to reverence my husband when he don't be doing this, that, and the third? Nobody's perfect. You and your husband are together for a reason. So whether it's you didn't prove him, oh well. Now you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. And what the Lord brought together, let no man put asunder. Now you have to build with this man and be patient with him. But there's no reason to disrespect your husband or call him out his name or to belittle him or to be prideful, and then you dishonoring yourself in your pride. It's just about showing him that love and that respect. And that's really like what, just reverencing him and listening and, asking your husband, what does he want from you? It's just, some ways that you can show him that you love him. Okay? I feel like I'm mumbling, y'all. All right, and let's get Judith. Judith 12:14. Then said Judith unto him, who am I now that I should gainsay my Lord? Surely whatsoever pleaseth him, I will do speedily, and it shall be the joy unto the day of my death. And Judith was kind of talking that talk. She was talking that talk to Holofernes because she was trying to get what she had to get. And that was his head. She was trying to get what she had to get was his head, bring that back, and save her people. That was her goal. So you have to think about, and she was dealing with a heathen. She had to sweet talk a heathen. So sometimes you have to sweet talk your husband. You do. To get the certain type of things you want, you have to. I've done it plenty of times. You have to. And it's about how you go about it. Like I said, that tone and demeanor. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And it's how you go about certain situations in your marriage. All right, if you want your husband to I don't know, let's say for example you want your husband to start helping out around the house more. An example of loving him and helping him through the Spirit is to say, here's an example. Hey, I just wanted to know if, I'm trying to do this without laughing, y'all, because I'm being immature. But I'm trying to think of a scenario, so this is the only one I can think of. Let's say your husband, might not be pulling his weight around the house, etc. You could be busy and he's busy, but you may need help. So let's say, for example, you want to talk to him. You can say, hey, do you mind if we, talk for a second? Boom. Where did we get that from? Abigail. Remember, she asked him, can I speak? All right. Now she's bringing it out to him. She's saying, hey, do you think that, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with, all of the stuff going on. The kids got this going on, they got that, and then I got this, and I know you got that, but do you think that maybe, I would really appreciate if you could just help out a little bit more. I really would if you could. What do you think about that? What do you think that, we could do a little bit better to try to get things done more in a more efficient way? Do you think I need to wake up earlier? Do you think that maybe we could wake up earlier together? And I don't know. Those are just, a few ideas. What do you think? It's just about how you go about it and being sincere and not being prideful, not belittling him, but just really being serious and coming to him, but doing it in the spirit of submission. Whether you bringing him, maybe you made his favorite dinner that night. Maybe you make him a drink and you bring him a drink and say, here, I got this for you. Let's talk for a little bit. Do you mind if we talk? It's just about how you go about it. Now, if you go about it, you could go about it in a nigga woman way and be like, I'm so sick of you. Every time you come home, you just sit down. You sit down and you do this, then a third. But you don't never be thinking about now you have to think about what you're saying. Now you're dishonoring your husband in your pride. And now you're being ungodly because the way that you're going about it is prideful. And you forgot who you are, you forgot who your husband is, and you forgot the order of the Lord. You forgot that it was Yahweh Shai, your husband, and you. But somewhere in the mix, you thought that you was right there next to your husband. So now you're jammed up. And now the Lord is looking at you like, who do you think that you are? So we have to be very mindful of the things that we say and how we say it and how we go about talking to our husbands. Okay? Alright, let's go down. Alright, 1 Peter 3:7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So, we are ultimately the weaker vessel. That's the reason why sisters can't go out and teach. That's the reason why, we're in a position that we're in. We are the weaker vessel. But the Lord had brought us together to be heirs together, that our prayers be not hindered, that we get the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So it's like you're a team. You and your husband, y'all are one flesh. Y'all are a team. And you have to think about, sports teams. You think about when you playing basketball. Okay, look, you have to work as a team. You're trying to get, at the end of the day, the end goal is for a basketball team is getting a championship ring. All right, our end goal as a team is getting the kingdom of heaven. So we have to work together. You can't be on the same team and you're not showing your husband love. You're not reverencing him. You're not honoring him. You're just being prideful. Nobody wants to work with. Imagine being on a team with somebody that's not really showing love, the proper love to the other player, to the other players on the team. All right. All right, and this is Ecclesiasticus 26:1. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. So, if you want your husband to live a long life, Adawana Ratazah, you have to be that virtuous woman. You have to, and that's being that virtuous woman, that's showing your husband that you love him because you want him to live a long life. According to the scripture, the number of his days shall be double, because he's not going to be stressed out, heart somewhere beating fast, all types of sicknesses and things happen when people are stressed out, when people aren't happy. And sometimes people can make that happen. Sometimes people can make you so sick where you are so sick spiritually that they make your body sick. And then you can end up putting your husband in the hospital, Lord forbid, the grave, Lord forbid, because you're not being that virtuous wife, that virtuous woman that he needs. Okay? This is verse 2. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. So we're supposed to rejoice our husband, be happy to be in our marriages, have fun. And let's talk about a few examples of that, okay? All right, so some of the things that I do is we go on date nights, and so I know some sisters are going to say, well, what if he doesn't want to do that? Well, you have to learn how to use your words. You have to, just like Judith had to learn how she learned how to use her words to save the nation of Israel. So if you want to save your marriage, then you're going to have to learn how to use your words. Okay? So if you feel like, hey, he don't want us to go on a date night, he just want to sit in the house, well, you better figure it out. You better figure out how to use your words. But, that is one of the things to have joy of, with to be joyous with your husband, is going on, did I say that right? Being in joy with your husband is going on dates. Even if you have kids, you can always have date nights in your house. There's been times where we had date nights in our house, or we might go away somewhere, or we go out to eat, or we'll just go bowling. We'll think of activities to do. So, and switch it up. Put some activities in a hat. Get some board games. It's so many things that you can do to switch things up, to have fun, and to put your husband in a good mood. Even if it's, pranks, jokes, whatever, if you know your husband, think of things that he would actually like to enjoy. Even if he likes to just watch basketball or watch football, sit down with him, make him a drink, watch basketball with him. Crack a few corny jokes or something. Have a good time. So, that's one of the things that we do. We just genuinely like to have a good time with each other, and we try to spend time together because we know that, we all we got at the end of the day. So, all right, what else did I put down? You got spa nights. We've done spa nights so many times, and even before I even really knew what being a wife was, that was one of my favorite things to do. Having a little spa night, or doing surprising him with a gift basket of his favorite things, cooking his favorite meal, rubbing his back, just anything you could think of. Pedicures, manicures, facials, date nights, just it's so many things that you can do to have fun with your husband, to show him that you love him. Even if you make his favorite cake, you make his favorite meal, you make his favorite drink, you just, they really like to just see that you truly appreciate them and that you love them. So it's nice to do, those type of surprises for them. Even if you feel like, well, I'm always doing this for him. Well, that's not what I meant to say. You could feel like, well, my husband doesn't bring me flowers, and he doesn't take me out on dates. He doesn't, do all of these things that, you're saying. But at the end of the day, now if you put that spirit out there that, hey, look, this is my love language for you. I'm doing things that's nice for you. Your husband is going to see that. And Lord willing, he reciprocates that same spirit and say, okay, look, well, dang, my wife did do, she did cook me that meal, surprise me with that basket of stuff that I've been, thinking about. Let me do something nice for her. Love is an action as well. So just like how love is an action for the Lord, it's an action for our husbands. It's about the things that we do more than the things that we say. So if you just show your husband that you love him by just the little things, listening, small gifts, asking him, hey, is there anything that you need from me today? Because I know I got this, that, and the third going on, but what do you need me to do today? You need me to put the trash by the door, you need me to get your clothes out, you need me to do this, you need me to do that. Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it. And that's our job. That's our job, and that's how we show our husbands that we love them, by our actions, by listening to them, by being considerate. Okay? All right, and I want to get a few more precepts. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus. I don't think I brought up Proverbs 12:4. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but he that maketh a shame is as rottenness in his bones. You want your husband, when I think about that precept, it makes me think about how you kind of want your husband to be proud of you. Like when you wear a crown, it's like, dang, everybody see you got a crown on. They're going to be looking at it, checking it out, asking where you got it from. That's kind of like the same thing. That virtuous woman is like a crown to your husband. Like people will notice the growth in your husband. People will notice, how your household runs because they see that, dang, this woman is a virtuous woman. And you're a crown to your husband, meaning that you're there to help your husband and build your husband up. But like we brought out, it's about how you go about it. Okay? Alright. Girl, my hair wrap is so tight. Oh my goodness. Alright. Let's move on. Alright, this is Ecclesiasticus 26 and 23. Oh, so like Ecclesiasticus 26 and 3. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. So if you and your husband are together and you're a righteous woman, then you would have to think that maybe your husband is righteous as well, right? Because a wicked woman is given unto a wicked man, and a godly woman is given to So like, let me read this. Ecclesiastes 26:23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. So if you're with your husband, it's either he's one of the two. It's either he's wicked, and that might be a reflection of yourself. Now you got to examine yourself. Or he's godly, and you know deep down inside, I'm godly too. So now I got to get myself right. We're not bad people. We just got to, we can't be lukewarm. We can't be wicked. We can't be, I don't know. Sometimes I'm godly. Sometimes I'm wicked. You have to be that godly woman. You know that the Lord brought y'all together for a reason, so that y'all can be heirs together. So that y'all can raise up children in the truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Y'all are godly. So y'all have to treat each other as such. You have to treat your husband as if he is a godly man. And when you feel like, hey, I'm going off, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this wrong. Or it could be the other way around. You could feel like I'm doing the right thing, but he's not. But you still have to examine yourself, because you still could very well be doing something wrong that can contribute to his actions, and it could be the other way around. He could be doing something that contributes to your actions. Y'all could be going tit for tat, back and forth, trying to belittle each other, bring each other down. It's like a spirit. So you have to choose this day who you're going to serve. It's either you're going to be a godly woman or you're going to be a wicked woman. You're not about to go tit for tat with your husband. Your husband could be being the most, and think about Abigail. He could be just blatantly rude to you and disrespectful to you. But you have that power to say, look, this is not of my foremothers to go back and forth. It's not of my foremothers to belittle my husband, or to speak evil of my husband, or to dishonor him in my pride, so that now I'm judged ungodly when the Lord judges me on Judgment Day. The Lord isn't going to look at what your husband did to you. He's not going to say, well, your husband did do that to you, so you got out the spirit for reasonable. That was reasonable to get out the spirit. It's never reasonable to get out the spirit. It's never okay. So you have to pick who you really want to be. Do you want to be a wicked wife, or do you want to be a righteous wife? You have to choose. And you have to choose by your actions. You can say it all day long, but it has to be by your actions. So if your husband trying to poking you, saying something, trying to poke the bear, you got two options. You can be ungodly in your pride. You can be prideful and be ungodly and dishonor him in your pride. Or you can be godly and be judged wise of them all, by understanding that a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and that a wise man holds his tongue. Being that wise woman that builds your house up, knowing that you tearing your house down if you're going back and forth with your husband. Let's bring that precept though. Alright, this is Proverbs 14:1 and 3. Proverbs 14:1. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Just going back and forth. You're literally plucking your house down. You're plucking your house down. But being that wise woman, you're building your house up. And a way that you can build your house up is by being silent and by being loving. Understanding that the Lord can fight your battles for you. The Lord can put it in your husband's spirit to be like, dang, I was wrong. I messed up. And it might not be just like that. And that's why you have to have patience. And that's why you have to have that faith, like I had brought out in the beginning of the video, that sisters had for Yahushua. That reverence and that faith that they had in Yahushua. You should have that same reverence and faith in your husband, that things are going to get better if you are going through marriage problems. And I feel like this video is kind of everywhere, but I'm just touching on just different things that I might see in our community that, you know, I feel like we need to work on as sisters, as wives. Okay? Alright, let me go back. Alright, this is 1 Samuel 2 and 3. Talk no more exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. So you can't talk proudly. You can't be proud. Let's do it, y'all. Let's make a pact right here, right now. Put your hand in. I will not talk back to my husband. I will not be that proud, ungodly woman to my husband. I will not dishonor my husband in my pride. Because I know that my actions are going to be weighed in the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So let's make this pact right now. And let's say to ourselves, look, we love our husbands. We're not going to go back and forth with our husbands. We're not about to go tit for tat. Even if my husband is wrong, we're going to zip our mouths and understand that a silent and a loving woman is a gift of the Lord. Understand that. That's how we moving. We about to go into a new year. I don't want to Ratazan. We moving in, going into that new year, being that silent and loving woman. Being that woman that's not about to say, well, you did. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We putting off that old woman, and we coming into spring, a new year, Lord willing, being this new woman. And like I was saying before, you're not going to be that same wife that you were a year ago, that you was a month ago, that you was last year, 2 years, 3 years, however long you've been with your husband. You know, a part about being married is learning the things that your husband doesn't like, and then you working on it, saying, okay, well, he doesn't like when I do this, and he doesn't like when I do that. So I'm going to work on that to show that I love him and that I reverence him and respect him. And likewise, the other way around as well. That's how a marriage works. You know, you have to work on yourself. So if you feel like you are struggling with, truly loving your husband, ask the Lord to strengthen your spirit and put the spirit in you to love your husband, to be kind to him. Okay? It's nothing too hard for the Lord. Alright, but we're not about to be, Lord willing, getting jacked up and judged by the Lord because we're being ungodly, because we're not being submissive. We got to think about it. That's why I brought out those precepts about Ruth, the two sisters in Luke. The sister in Luke, the sister in Matthew 20, Luke the 7th chapter, Matthew the 26th chapter, Esther. All of these things was written to help us be better wives. Even down from Abigail, Sarah, Rebecca. All of our foremothers and all of these accounts showed us how a righteous Israelite woman should be. Okay. All right. All right, and this is Ecclesiasticus 26:13. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. And this kind of goes into silent and being discreet as well, because I've seen some times where things got out of hand. Things got real out of hand, real quick, went left real fast because sisters aren't being discreet with the things that go on in their household. That's why the scripture says have one counselor of many. You can't sit down at a feast day or sit down in a school or sit down somewhere and you saying, I will not forget sister did this. She unfortunately is no longer in the truth. Lord willing, she repent and get herself together. But man, it was so crazy. We was at the school. We called it the schoolhouse when we had it. She was like just going off about her husband, and he was in the other room. Everybody could hear it. The brothers could hear it. I could hear it. The sister, obviously I could hear her. I was sitting there. She was talking to me, but she was saying all the things that he don't do. He don't do this, and he don't do that, and he don't do this with kids, and he don't do that. And I was just like, dang, like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe you, over here doing this. Like, you kind of, not being discreet. You're not being discreet with your husband. You're not having any discretion within your household. You can't. It's always a way about venting to sisters. You can have a counsel, and when it comes to venting, nobody really wants to hear you complaining about your husband. It's about what can you do better, and that's one of the things that Tezalai always says. You know, we have to stray away from hearing you talk bad about your husband. We want to know what can you do to help the situation. We want to figure out, get to the bottom of it. What can you do better? All right, because you can't control this man. You can't control nobody, but you control your actions and how you move in situations. So if your husband's not doing this, that, and the third, okay, so what can you do to help it? What can you do to be a better wife for your husband? That's how you show your husband you love him. And that discretion, that's fattening his bones. That's making your husband, you're building your husband up. You're being that wise woman. Okay. And again, that's Ecclesiastes 26:14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. This is Ecclesiasticus 36:23. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then not her husband is like other men. Let's write that down. Kindness, meekness, comfort in her tongue, then her husband is not like other men. That's a very rare quality for sisters to have. To be kind, to have that meek tongue. And let's go to humility. Being humble, a modest or low view of one's importance. Meaning that it's not about, you know, that Israelite women, we know that it's not just about us. And that's how all those sisters was. They knew that their husbands was up there, and they knew that it really wasn't about them. That's what being humble is. Like, it's not about me. It's not about me. That's what you gotta tell yourself. It's not about me. That's being humble. It's saying that it's not about how I feel all the time. It's not about what I gotta say out of my mouth all the time. I don't have to be right all the time. Sometimes you have to put that to the side and yes, be silent. And look at what happened to Abigail. She had to deal with that foolish man, but then she ended up being given over to King David. So the Lord is always gonna work things out for you, especially when he sees that you are being that silent and loving woman. That's a great price in the eyes of the Lord. Oh, this instrumental was horrible. So lucky. Alright, that meekness, that kindness, that when you think of being kind, it's like being cheerful, being nice to your husband. You know, being in a good mood when he get off of work. You know, my husband, when he get off of work, he wants everybody to be in a good mood. Look, we in a good mood despite what, you know, he just wants to come home to like a good, you know, some food cook, some clothes sitting on the bed, and just for everybody to be in a good mood. You know, that's all brothers really be wanting. They just want you to be kind and loving and to be in a good mood. And being comforting. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ecclesiastes 36:23. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then her husband is not like other men. And let me get this other precept. This is Ecclesiasticus 25:23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress, maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So your husband could be having the worst day ever. He could have gotten into an accident, Lord forbid. He could have lost his job. He could have lost some money. Anything could have happened. He could have got rolled up at work. I mean, anything could have happened to the man. He could just not be feeling good spiritually, you know. He could just be going through it. But if you're not there to comfort your husband, while he's in distress, you're an ungodly woman. And you're going to make weak hands and feeble knees. You're not building your husband up. You're tearing him down. You're plucking him down. Now you're being a foolish woman because you're not there comforting your husband, building him up through the Spirit. Okay? But you want to be that woman. If there be any kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then her husband is not like other men. Her husband is mighty through the Spirit. Her husband is strong. Her husband is a provider. Her husband is a righteous man. A godly man. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 26 and 15. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. Y'all, I'm so sorry this is so long. But, how about that being a shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace. Meaning that you're not always in brothers' faces. You're married, like we were saying out on the call. Usually sisters, we're all the sisters that I in my family, we're married. So we're not, unless it's like a brother that we've been in the camp with since the very beginning, like, oh, shalom, brother. But we're all pretty shamefaced where we kind of put our head down. We're not about to be all up in the brothers' faces. And this is something that we've learned over time. We're not going to be all up in the brothers' faces laughing and joking, kikiing and ha-ha and doing all of that. Now we kind of just be like, shalom, brother. We don't, we're not friends. You're not a friend. A brother is not your friend. Your husband is your friend. The only friends that you have is your sisters. You don't have any male friends in this truth. And if somebody told you that, they lied to you. And you need to tell them that they're bugged out. Okay? Alright? But yeah, that goes into just being shamefaced. Not being in brothers' faces. Not talking to brothers. It's a time and a place for everything. If you got a business, I have had businesses where I've had to speak to men, but I'm not sitting down having full-blown conversations and etc. You want to be that faithful woman and faithful to your husband. All right, that's a double grace. And that mind that you have, it cannot be valued. It can't be valued. How about Shimi Ashai? This is Ecclesiastes 25 and 20. As a climbing up of a sandy way to the cat's really getting on my nerves. As a climbing up of a sandy way is to the feet of the age, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. And that I couldn't imagine climbing up. It's already hard to walk in sand. So imagine going up like a little bit on a hill in the sand. You kind of struggling a little bit. And it's almost like you getting there, but you're not really getting there. It's taking some time. That's how I kind of look at this precept. As a climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the age. You old, you trying to, climb up some sand. They're going to be struggling. It's already hard to do it now. But imagine being aged trying to climb up a sandy way. It's going to be hard. You're going to be sweating, struggling, might want to give up. That's how a man feels when he has a wife that's full of words. Like, dang, when is this going to be over with? When are you going to get to the point? So that's why it's best to be what? Just silent and loving, because you don't want to be that woman. You don't want to be the woman that's just talking constantly. It's not worth it. It's just going to bring a spirit of vexation over your household and your husband. And remember, the goal is to have your husband do nice things for you. The goal is for you to do nice things for your husband. You're not going to get those things if you're constantly just having many words to this man. Okay? So if you got something that you need to say, like I said, we brought out how to bring it out. Keep it short. But no man wants to really deal with that. They really don't. I know my husband sure don't. My goodness. All right, let's move on. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus 26 and 27. An evil wife is as a yoke shaken to and fro, and he that hath hold of her as though he held a scorpion. So you don't want to be that evil wife. And in your marriages, you do want to examine yourself. And you do want to ask your husband. And I was asking my husband this. I said, am I a good wife to you? I asked my husband that. And it's okay to, you don't want to, how can I say this? If you say that to your husband, he'd be like, oh, here she go again. No, but genuinely ask them, like, do you feel like I'm a good wife, or what do you think that I can do better? They would truly, honestly, really appreciate that. They really would. So you have to examine yourself to make sure that you're not being that evil wife. So that's why I brought out asking your husband. Okay. This is Proverbs 21 and 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. And that's just a precept to the Ecclesiasticus 26 and 7. Nobody wants to deal with it. And I've said this before. Dwelling in a corner of a housetop is like, it just makes me think about a man getting ready to jump off the house and commit suicide. Because he's dealing with a brawling woman. Somebody that's you always about to fight. You always trying to fight your husband physically or with your words. And Eve, our mouth is like a weapon itself. It's just, we have like the smartest mouths out of all the nations of people. So your mouth is a weapon as well. Just being that brawling woman make a man not even want to be with you or deal with you. You don't want your husband to not want to deal with you. Okay? Ecclesiasticus 25 and 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Verse 17, the wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darketh her countenance like a sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, he shall sigh bitterly. Here she come. Here she come. I'm trying to think of an example. Let me think of something. I'm trying to think of a brother name. Sister could be like, a sister could be like, Azariah, didn't I tell you? Oh, here come his wife. Here, all the brothers like, oh, here she go. And he like, oh. That's like a pure prime example of that scripture. Just, that's actually sad. Like, it's funny making a scenario up, but it's really not, because that's sad. Like, it's sad that a brother would have to go through a wife that will make them sigh. Like, that's actually very sad. So, we can't be like that. Alright, and this is verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Okay? Alright, and let's move on I just got a few more precepts about being shamefaced in your marriage. Okay? Ecclesiasticus 26, 25 through, I'll get out 22 first. A harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. So you're being that married woman, you're a tower against death. And why? Because you're going to prolong his days. You're going to make him happy. He's going to live many days because of the way that you treat him, because you have that kindness, meekness, and that comfort in your tongue. And he's not just like any other man. He's going to live a long life because he lives a happy life. Right? And that's really being that tower of death against your husband. To your husband. It's really being his pillar of rest. Okay? Alright. And that's Ecclesiasticus 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. That being a tower against death to your husband, that's also being that pillar of rest. Alright. Alright, and that goes into, look, you're your husband's possession. So you have no. When I think about my possession, my dog is my possession. My cat is my possession. So they have to listen to me. They're in subjection to me. So it's the same way for myself with my husband. And for ourselves with our husbands. Okay? Alright, and I just want to close it out because it's getting long, because it's getting a little bugged out, y'all. I'm so sorry. This is a few more precepts just to help, with your marriages. It's Ecclesiasticus 26:16. As the sun, when it ariseth in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. So having your house in order helps a lot too, to show your husband that you love him. Even, I know it gets busy. It's hard to keep a house clean with a whole bunch of kids, or, if you transition in from having a 2-year-old and now you got a newborn, and whatever obstacles that you may have, it's going to be hard sometimes, but it's about making that effort and showing, hey, look, I'm working on it. I got this organized, and here's your clothes for when you got to go to work in the morning. So like, here's your clothes for when you get off. Here's your breakfast, this, that, and the third. So brothers really do appreciate having your house in order as well. And that alleviates just a bunch of spirits from being in your house. When your house is a mess, it just brings spirits. It really does. It's like a demon. Okay. Alright. I have a few. I think I'm done, y'all. I'm going to close it out with Ecclesiasticus 25:1. And 3 things I was beautified and stood up. And 3 things I was beautified and stood up, beautiful both before God and men: the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agree together. So, call hello, how about Shemi Al-Shai? You're always not going to have the perfect marriage. Nobody's marriage is completely perfect. Everybody has things they got to work on. You might get on your husband's nerves, your husband might get on your nerves, but it has to come to an end, because we're learning to be better wives for our husbands. You should never get on your husband's nerves. Alright? We're used to saying stuff like that. We might get on my nerves here, he might do this, and she might get on my nerves there. Yeah, that might happen, but we don't want that to be a thing in Israel. We don't want that to be a thing where, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for you to get on your husband's nerves and it's cute. We're doing better. We're doing better this spring 2024. Lord willing, opening up a new year. We got about 10 more weeks till Passover to get, ourselves in order and to get our houses in order. And, Lord willing, this video was helpful for sisters on just, what are y'all doing in my office?
Me and Maya found it.
Alright, it's time for y'all to go sit down. It's time to get ourselves in order, be better wives, be better mothers, be better sisters through the Spirit. But ultimately, this video is for, us being better wives. And I hope this was helpful for y'all. All praises to the Most High, y'all. Love y'all very much. And the water for listening to this almost 2-hour video. I gotta go. So, shalom. Love y'all.